We'll be fine.
But you know this shit's fire.
All right, and we are live. Welcome to Pin the Gas, Weefrenchie. How you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Man, I've been flat out since we met at Cadwell. So real quick backstory on how me and her met for our good buddy, Malcolm Shorter, awesome photographer, has his own Facebook page. He does BSB, track days, cars, animals, airplanes, the whole nine, and he's a proper mega person, right? So obviously we become good mates, and then he's like, hey man, I want to introduce you to Weefrenchie. And I was like, absolutely. And yeah, we had a great talk at Cadwell, and that's how we met. And I've been absolutely looking forward to this since we met at that time. So here we are.
Yay.
I can't wait. So yeah, it's awesome. So listen, you are super fast, awesome mega. So let's start from the very beginning. How did you get into motorcycles to begin with?
Man, so I was living in the UK, and I have two brothers who live in France, and both of them used to ride off-road in the mountains because I grew up in the mountains. And one weekend I went home and I was really tired, and my little brother was fixing his bike, and he said to me, hey, can you help me fix my bike? And I went, I don't know how to ride a bike. I don't know what to do to it. And he said, just fine, just jump on it. All I need you to do is just ride around this little field here. I just need to hear the engine. Fine. So then he showed me how to change the gears and stuff. And I said, yeah, I'll probably just stay in first. And off I went around this triangular field. And by the time I got back to my brother, I had the biggest grin on my face. And I thought, yep, I need one of those. So I go back to the UK, and only a couple of weeks later, someone crashed into my car and literally destroyed it. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just buy a bike instead. And that was the beginning of that.
That's I never forget the first time I threw my leg over a bike when I was little too, right? That anxiety, because you're like, even as a kid, I had it because I was like, oh my God, this is awesome, right? Just that you don't know what to expect. But as soon as you get on it and the first time you take off, you're like, it's hard to explain to people that feeling,
Yeah.
right? It's absolutely amazing. So somebody totaled your car, you got a motorcycle. Where does it go from there? How's the story? So you rode on the street for a while, and then who introduced you to track days and all that good stuff?
So yeah, I had a little 125 to start with, and I just started riding my little 125. I was scared, like you wouldn't believe, of going round roundabouts. I just used to like go around super slowly and just. But then I started meeting people who rode bikes, and then eventually I got myself a Hornet 600. 2005 model, and it was just brilliant. I loved it. It was pearl white. Nobody had white bikes at the time, so I was like, I'm the only one with it. It was cool. And I started doing lots of touring. I toured around the UK. I toured around France. I did some, borderline countries like Switzerland and Germany and Spain and that kind of stuff. And I love doing that, and I did that for about 10 years. I think probably 4 weeks after I bought my 600, actually, a friend of mine said to me, hey, do you want to go on a trip? Yeah, sure. And off we went, spent 4 days riding every single day. And it was the most riding I'd ever done in my life. And I loved it. And I did that for about 10 years. I did lots of touring for 10 years. And then a friend of mine then mentioned that I was quite good on the bike, but I could probably learn to move a bit more on it. So I booked a track days at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit, because they do evening track days. So it's like 4 sessions, and it's quite affordable. So I did that. Booked a session with an instructor, followed him around Druids, the hairpin. And he literally just got right off his bike. And I thought, okay, well, if you do this, surely I can. So then I started doing that. And I'm not kidding. The first session of that evening, I was super slow. And by the end of the evening, I was super fast. I was like, I like this. But I was still touring at the time. It was just a bit of fun. And then a year later, I bought myself a GSXR 750 because they brought out a model with a white scheme on it. And again, I just liked white, so I wanted one. So I bought one and took it to Brands Hatch again, just to get used to the bike a bit more, because it was a different bike, sports bike. And literally within one session, I just thought, oh, man, this is meant to be on track. It's not meant to be on the road. And it went from there. I started booking track days after that. Went to Cartagena the following year. I think it was the following year, fairly quickly. Crashed, first crash ever. And then just started from that, really. Just started meeting other people who were into track days. And then it just becomes a little bit of a family and a little bit of an addiction, really. And I had 2 bikes, and my road bike just stayed unused for ages. So eventually I thought, I just need to sell it. And then I started doing only track days. And eventually I got really fast, and I got told, you start racing, really, because it's not much you're going to get from track days now. So then I started racing, and it went from there, really. And it's been, I think I started racing in 2015. I started track day in 2013, I think. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's it. And as far as your touring, so you just got on your bike and just toured around countries and stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's the most beautiful country you've been to?
Oh, I don't know. I love touring France. It's really stunning. I love touring in Scotland. That was amazing. And because I was really stressed at work, and I put some days down, and I thought, you know what, I need a break. So I loaded my bike, my GSXR 750, I had a massive pack on the tail, and I just took off for 10 days by myself. I just thought, I just want to go. So I just took off and just drove all the way around Scotland for 10 days. And I stopped whenever I was tired and got off whenever I wanted to go. It was brilliant. And it was probably my favorite, touring ever.
It sounds amazing. I'm trying to visualize it in my head as you're talking about it. But when I think of that, I think of, like the Vikings and all that, right? That's what I'm thinking of. Scotland. Yeah. Freedom, all that good stuff. Braveheart. I've never been to Scotland. I heard it's absolutely gorgeous and amazing.
Beautiful.
What country had
really
to?
lucky, because normally it rains a lot in Scotland, but it was actually really sunny for 10 whole days. So I was really lucky with it.
They opened it up just for you to come and tour, right? Yeah, absolutely. Out of all the countries you've been to, who had the best food?
Oh, it has to be France, really. It's not because I'm French, but definitely best food.
Just a little bit, right? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so getting into racing when you first started racing, and you do coaching too as well. Yes. Okay. So how did going from road bikes, touring, track days, super mega fast racer to, hey, you know what? I want to coach people. How did all that come together?
So when I started riding on track, my first trip to Cartagena, I had a session with someone called Antonio Maeso. He's an ex-Spanish superbike champion. And I spent my first day at Cartagena trying to figure out how to ride around the track that I didn't know, and I was just useless at it. So on day 2 in the morning, I asked if I could have a session with him, and it was free tuition with the group that I was with. So he took me around the circuit and showed me how to go around the circuit. And he said to me, look, if you just practice, forget speed, just practice those lines and you'll find that speed comes with it. And so I spent the entire day just practicing the lines that he showed me. By the end of the day, I was fastest in my group, and I loved it until I crashed. I got cocky, but yeah. But I loved it. And after that, every time I go to a new track, I'd have a session with someone to show me the lines or help me out a little bit, rather than try and figure it out by myself. And I did that when I did track days, and then I started racing. And a few years into racing, I thought, once you've upgraded the suspension and you've upgraded the bike and things like that, you kind of think it's a lot of money to spend on a machine, but if I don't know how to ride it, it's not going to do anything really very well. So I found a coach who was available for coaching in the UK. Got in touch. Actually, he got in touch with me. It was a track day, I think, and he came over to see me, and he said to me, what's it feel like when you get around that corner? And I'm like, not knowing who this guy was, I was like, well, I'm struggling with it a bit, to be fair. I said, oh, what would happen if you did this, or if you tried that? Well, I guess it would do this, blah, blah, blah. And we started talking random bits. And I went out, and literally within a session, I knocked 2 seconds off my time, and I thought, oh, okay. So I found a guy and had a chat, and then we said, can we have a day? Yeah, let's have a day. So I had a day with him. His name's Gary Wharton from Not So Fast. I had a day with him, and it helped massively. Then I booked him again for 2 days at Portimao, and it rained sideways for 2 days. But I promise you, it's the most I learned how to ride my bike. 2 days coaching in the rain. By the time everything cleared up on the second day, I was just flying. And it kind of started from there, really. I thought, I want to be able to help people who get into this, because there's so much that you just don't know. And I wanted to be able to help others. And that's pretty much how that went. So I looked into how I could get into it. And last year, I was given an opportunity to become a trainee coach with No Limits Track Days, who I do a lot of track days with. And they do the racing series that I race with as well. So I spent the whole season just training with them. And then at the end of the year, I decided to do my full ACU coaching license, which I've literally just obtained 5 days ago. So I'm super chuffed about that.
Absolutely. Congratulations. So in order to get your license, what all does that entail? I mean, I have no idea. That's why I'm asking the question. Like, how does one become a rider coach?
So you have to, first of all, you have to go through a club initially to get your first license. So it has to be a club coaching license. And then once you've got that, there's a few criteria to meet in terms of your racing license and things like that. And then you've got to do, obviously there's a fee to pay. There's a couple of assessments to go through, one practical assessment on a day where you're being observed coaching someone else or other people. And then you have to do a written exam as well. And that's pretty much it, really. As long as, to be honest, a lot of it's common sense, but there are regulations that you need to know. Obviously, the ACU have their own regulations, and things about, for example, if you're coaching people who are under 18, what you need to do, that kind of thing. Things that you have to do if you're on a track day, if you're coaching, all the risk assessments you have to go through, and all of these things, regulations you have to know. So it's about just knowing all of that. And then the day on track so mine was an ACU day. So I was assessing other riders who were taking their ACU track and race license, and I was being assessed while I was assessing others. So that was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and that's pretty much that, really.
That's amazing. I kind of coach, like, I'm not professional, but my buddy, he never rode a bike before, so he buys this motorcycle. He brings it over to the house, and within a couple hours, he's lapping the neighborhood, going out on the street. It feels amazing, right? I tried to get my son, obviously, into. I mean, look at my room, right? I'm a diehard, fan. So of course, when my wife was pregnant, I was like, yes, he's gonna be a MotoGP world champ, world superbike, all this stuff, right? Just like everybody does, right? I'm not the only one. Yeah, he loves to go to the races with me, and he'll watch them with me on TV, but I bought him several dirt bikes, and he rode them maybe 4 or 5 times. And I don't push it. I don't talk to him about it, really. I just let him, one day I'm hoping he'll come around and be like, okay, Daddy, I'm ready. Because that's what he told me. He's like, I'm just not ready. Like, I'm just not into it. And I'm like, okay, let's go build some Legos in, right? And that's what we go in there and go play Legos. So, definitely would be a dream. So, you race last season. How did 2023 go?
It was intense. So my husband's a race engineer, and he supports all the racing that I do. He races too, but he kind of put his racing on hold for the last couple of years to support mine, which was really brilliant.
Absolutely proper. Big shout out. Yes.
But last year, so the year before last, I raced with a team on and off, and we won the Clubman 600 Endurance Championship. And that's when I had my first ever win. We did an 8-hour endurance race at Alton Park, and I had my first ever win. And I'm the one I went for the checkered, and on my last lap, I was literally waving at the marshals. I was crying in my helmet. It was just unbelievable. And it was brilliant. It was really brilliant. But so at the end of the season, we thought it'd be great if we could do something with women. I don't think that women should just be allowed on track for the sake of it, but I think it'd be great to show there are actually quite a lot of women who can race and who ride really well. I mean, just last week I was at Andalusia, and there were 8 women on that track day, which was really brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we just wanted to show that women can race and we can be competitive. So we looked for another rider. We wanted to do an endurance team, two women only. We looked for another rider, which we eventually found, and did the whole season. I ended up with 3 different teammates throughout the season 4, actually. So I was the only one consistent throughout. But so we did the whole season of just one women-only team among 50 teams, mainly guys. I think there was another woman who was racing on and off occasionally in a different team. And yeah, we did really well. The first race we went off, and we won our race, which was unbelievable.
Proper, dude. Yes, I love it.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really weird actually because we had so many delays on that day. It was cold. It's Snetterton. Snetterton, I think in March is not usually very warm. It's really fast circuit and it was wet. And I don't actually mind the wet because I trained for 2 days at Portimao in the wet and I got used to it. And yeah, we won the race. It was brilliant. I remember just racing and seeing my pit board was always just showing P1, P1, P1. And at the beginning, I thought, is that right? And it just every lap it was still P1, and I thought it must be right. I've got to keep going because they're going to be right behind me. And on a pit board, my teams they show us, how far we are in front of the person behind us, and if we're not first, how far behind we are in front of the person, or how far behind we are the person in front. So the difference between the two, and of course there was no one in front of me because it was P1, and the people behind weren't actually that close, and there was moments where they caught us up a bit and then we caught up again, and yeah, and then the race went on for ages. It was really dark when it finished. I could barely see the track. All I could see, because I still had my visor like full of water and everything, and all I could see was the dashboard lights, and I thought, this isn't right. I'm not supposed to race in the dark. But anyway, yeah, so we finished and we won it, which was absolutely brilliant. Really, really, really excited. But yeah, so we did that, and then the season went on, and then we had some better rounds and some not so good. I think the next round I had an issue with my engine during the endurance, so that cost us a lot. The one after that was Dunny, and we finished P2. So really excited about that. Again, it was wet. It has something to do about riding in the wet. But then we had it was Croft after that, and I crashed at Croft in the endurance. Literally, went flying. Ugh. Anyway, so that cost us a lot. Anglesey was cancelled because it was a storm. And after that, what did we have? We had Brands Hatch, where I had my second teammate then. I raced with Katie Hunt. She was racing in the 400s last year. I'm not sure what she's doing this year, but she's a brilliant rider. And she has an R6, so tried that. It was her first ever time racing the R6 as well, so I was really chuffed she was racing with us.
How does that compare to the bike you normally race? And you race a ZX6R? An R6. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to have a Gixxer 600, which I loved because it was super smooth on power delivery. But one day, just before that 8-hour race, actually, the year before last, a week beforehand, it just it decided to die on me during a track day, and I had 1 week to replace it, which I couldn't do or not. So I ended up borrowing my husband's bike, which was an R6, and I rode it for the whole 8 hours race. And at the end of it, I went, I might keep that one. It's nice. So I've been riding R6s since, and I absolutely love the R6. So yeah.
So you got the R6 and the husband got the broke down GSXR. Here you go. We're just gonna swap, right? You take my paperweight, I'll take your bike. I'll take care of it. Trust me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, at the beginning, that's exactly what it was like. He had my broken bike, I had his R6. We got him something else eventually. He's good.
I love it. I'd have done the same thing, babe. I need that right there. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, he's awesome. So
absolutely. Yeah. And actually, we got a couple comments. So, mate, Daniel Parker, a good mate of mine, rider mindset coach. Did you met Daniel there?
Yes.
At Cadwell? Yes, with me. He actually works with Finn Whedon that won the championship last year. Yes, absolutely awesome. And then my man Trevor Watson, what is up? He says my dude with the BK44. So yeah, Brendan Kelstein, good buddy of mine, super fat man. This kid is so fast. Races out there in California, CMRA, all those. I mean, he's I don't see how he don't have a ride in Moto America. So if anybody's listening to this in Moto America, dude, you need to go get him out there. He is absolutely proper. I'm a huge fan. His dad's awesome. We trade t-shirts. Brendan actually signed on camera. It's weird, right? Well, it's right. You see it. It's on this collar, right there. You go.
Right there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's he's awesome. And then Shot Bro, what is up, man? Shot, he has a podcast too out there in Australia where he does, talks about MotoGP and KTM and Brad Bender and the boys. Let's go, right? Yeah, absolutely, a lot of fun. So continue on with your season last year.
My season, yeah. So So I raced with Katie at Brands, and then after that we had 2 rounds left. And I was going to race with a friend of mine who was just getting into racing, but she's learning really quickly. Unfortunately, she got taken out on quali on a Friday night, so we were a bit stuck. And I spent an hour frantically running around the paddock on Saturday morning trying to find another teammate. It's not many women who race. And luckily, Chloe Jones was in the paddock. She was using the weekend as testing. Yes.
Absolutely. I love Chloe. She's a good mate of mine. Yes.
Yeah, she's
Absolutely.
Brilliant. I went to see her and I said, please, 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 would you race with me? I need a teammate. And otherwise we're done for. And she was like, let me check with my dad. Checked with dad. Dad was like, yeah, that's fine. Okay, let me check with my team. So fingers crossed. Checked with the team, and team said, yeah, that's fine. Great. Off we go. And Chloe was like, so what bike do you have? I was like, well, I've got 2 bikes, so you can use my second one. And I'll use obviously mine. So she jumped on my bike and said, can you just move the handlebars a bit like this? And then the foot pegs here, and then the rest is good to go. Okay. And off she went for literally, she had 1 lap on the back of a sprint race, just as a warm up that the organizers allowed us to do. So she could see whether the bike was set up okay for her. She came back, she said, yeah, perfect, spot on. And I kept thinking, really, that's it? And then we did the start, had to start from the back of the grid. So we were literally 50th on the grid. And then I did the start, went off, Chloe went out, and then straight away on her first spin, she was faster than me on my bike that she'd never ridden before. Yeah, she's just unbelievable. And we finished P4, I think, in our class. So from the back of the grid, so it was really impressive. And I enjoyed racing with Chloe so much that we asked her to come back for the last round at Donington. So she came to race with us on our last round, and we did really well again. And we finished P2, so we runners up on the championship, National 600 Championship. So really good, thank you. But yeah, absolutely loved it. That was the endurance. I also did sprints last year. It started really well. I had a few podiums. It was P3 twice at Cadwell. I had some podiums at Donny as well, I think. I nearly had a P2 at Cadwell. It was, again, a wet race. I'm just good in the wet. I don't know what to tell you. It started wet, and we all started a bit gingerly because it was a little bit chilly, and I started going, and I got into a groove sort of halfway through the race, and I started picking them off one by one. I was like, I see you, I've passed you, now I see you, I passed you, and then I see you over there, I'm going to get you. And then on the last lap, I was catching someone else up, and I thought, I might have enough of a lap left to pass you too. So I started chasing him. And we go to the last corner at Barn, and literally he heard me. So we were like on the power really quickly. It's right hand sort of downhill, a little bit off camber. Got on power really quickly, and I thought, oh, this could be so bad. This could end up so wrong. And we chased each other literally to the line, and we passed the line at 0.07 difference. He was just a teeny bit in front of me. But that was amazing. So it's been good. It's been, really good fun. But then with that, I also did a really long endurance in Spain. I did the 24 hours of Barcelona with, thank you. That was, I never actually thought I would do that, but the opportunity came up, and I thought, I have to try it. So I did that with a team called Bazumba Racing, and they're brilliant. It's a family-run team and lots of friends, and they were really so welcoming, absolutely amazing. Jumped on their bike on a circuit, so a bike that I didn't know, a circuit that I'd never ridden at before, and a team that I didn't know, and teammates I'd never met, and it was just brilliant. We finished P2, so we were P2 in the Super Sports 600 class. So yeah.
That's awesome. So a 24-hour endurance race, that's got to be that's a long race, right? It's intense. So did you have any mental preparation, or did you change your training regimen at all for it, or?
No, so I trained with a mindset coach 2 years ago who gave me a structure to follow, we sort of came up with a structure to follow before race weekend and at the race weekend, and I've been following that ever since. It's just a bit of mental prep and, physical prep and things like that. And I just wanted to stick with it because it works. So it's all about visualizing and just, calming yourself down and calming your heart rate, all that kind of thing, and just focusing, everything really. But yeah, so I kind of did the same as I normally do for a race weekend, and it worked really well. Obviously, difference being now I'd be riding for an hour, and then I had 3 hours gap to have a shower, grab some food, grab some sleep, get back in my kit, and then go back out again. So then, and that through the whole night. So I did 5.5 hours riding, I think, in the end. It was really great, but yeah, it was difficult. I mean, from a physical perspective, I crashed at Croft 2 weeks prior, and at Croft, my bike landed on my leg. So I had bruises on all the way down my leg, my right leg. And the bruises had gone by that point. But what I didn't know is that I hurt my knee, and I didn't really realize. But obviously, being on the bike for an hour and then stopping for 3, then back for an hour, stopping for 3, back for an hour. On my fourth stint, I could barely get off the bike. My knee was so painful. And the team literally carried me to the truck to see the physio. And physios were great, helped me out. And then when I went out for my last stint, I said to the team, leave me out for 45 minutes, show me that it's been 45 minutes. And if I'm okay to stay out, I'll ignore it and I'll stay. Or if I'm too much in pain, then I'll come in at 45, but at least we can talk to each other. So I went out for my last stint, and at 45 minutes, they showed me the board, and they showed me the board, I think 3 laps in a row, showing me that it'd been 45. And I thought, no, I'm finishing the hour. And I just stayed out. And literally, when I got back, I couldn't get off the bike by myself. So they literally just grabbed me off it and then just carried me off so that the next rider could get on. But yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I bet. I couldn't imagine it. There's a lot of 24 hours. I mean, 5.5 hours ride time. You do get 3 hours in between, but that 3 hours in between's like this, right? You're like, I just went to sleep, like, right? I couldn't imagine the intensity, very much so, versus a normal race, right? So we actually got a comment from Nicky Williams. What is up, man? He says, if you want to learn to ride a bike like dancing the salsa, Weefrenchie is the coach. Great racer. Absolutely. So you know Nicky?
Yes, I know.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, we raced together. He's a great guy, really great guy. We did actually a bit of coaching this week at Andalus. Yeah, not as much as we wanted to, but we're gonna do a few more hours and a few more days during the season. So yeah, looking forward to working with him this year.
Absolutely. So when you say endurance race, just for all the listeners, your normal endurance race, what is it? A 4-hour endurance race? A 6 hours?
3. So the standard, at least in the UK, the standard endurance race is 3 hours. And then depending on season and what the organizers can do, we usually have a couple of races that are longer than that. So last year we should have had 6 hours and a 5.5. I think Donny, when we finished second, that was a 5.5 hours. And I can't remember if we ended up having the 6 hours, maybe not. I think Anglesey was supposed to be longer, but it was cancelled. But on previous years, we've had longer races. So, for example, the year before, we had Alton Park 8 hours, and they have been longer races, like 10 hours at Anglesey and things like that. And I think they're planning to do a much longer version, potentially maybe even a 24 hours if they can fit it in. That would be nice.
That would be.
Yeah,
good stuff.
So it's usually 3 hours. And so with 3 hours, it's a minimum of 2 riders in a team, maximum of 4. You can have one bike that you share across the team, or you can have one bike per rider, whatever suits. And after that, it's down to the organization of the team, how long you race for, really. When I started, I raced with friends, and we were doing it just for fun. So we were doing 20 minutes, maximum 30-minute stints, and just swapping over. And we made sure we all had an equal amount of time on track, effectively, because it was about having fun. We weren't chasing any championships or anything. But as soon as you start racing and actually, looking at the best performance possible, then you start looking at what costs you time, and changing over from one rider to another obviously costs time. So the least changes you can do, the less changes you can do, the better. So last year we were doing minimum 45-minute stints, sometimes longer than that, to try and, get as much riding as we can without having to change over. So yeah.
So what's easier to have everybody on their bike, have their own bike, or everybody share one bike?
It's easier to have one bike per rider, because as soon as someone comes in, you can change transponder over and go, and your pit stops are like very, very quick. If you only have one bike, there's a lot more regulations you have to follow. When you refuel, everyone has to be off the bike, and then you refuel. So the 24 hours of Barcelona, for example, that was one bike for the team. Obviously you have to change tires and things, so it's a lot of coordination. It's like a ballet, synchronized ballet. when it goes on, like watching Team of Barcelona was exactly that. They knew exactly what they needed to do. Everyone had their job, and then jump on the bike and just go whoosh, and then come right off, and the tires would be changed, the wheels would be changed, it would be fueled, everything would be clean. It was like brilliant. But yeah, so it's easier to have one bike per rider. Also, if you think about it, if you're lucky, all your riders are the same height, similar weight, that kind of stuff, and then that works well. But sometimes it's really not, and so you end up with riders who are taller than others or heavier than others, and you end up having to try and set the bike up to fit everyone, because you don't have time to change everything. You can't change the handlebar positions and the foot peg positions, and it's just too much. So definitely easier to have one bike per rider.
Yeah, I could see where one bike for everybody, like you said, you got to set a happy medium for everybody as far as the aerodynamics of the bike, the whole nine, right? Yeah, I could see where it'd be much easier task. And you already know, Cadwell Park's my favorite track in the whole entire world. I suck at it on the Ride 5. I cannot get around there without crashing my brains out every time I play it, but I love it. And I ask everybody that's actually been there, what's it like on that mountain course, approaching that mountain, jumping in that whole back section, which just blew my mind when I got there. I was like, you got to be kidding me right now, right?
It's a weird one, because when you get to the mountain, you don't see it, obviously, because you're kind of at the bottom, getting into that left hand, and it's really carved left hand, really cambered to get you up that little bit, and then you flip over to the right just to get on, and you don't necessarily, obviously, where you are, there's a jump there, but you don't have to jump it. There's lots of ways to not do it. I don't usually jump the mountain. Not like Josh Brooks or anything like that. Although I did meet him at Cadwell once, and I said to him, "You've got to tell me how you take the mountain, because I don't know how you do it." And he was great, actually. He gave me some really good tips to take it. But yeah, it's just another corner. It just happens to be uphill a bit.
It has to be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen on two wheels, besides the Isle of Man TT. I mean, it's and my whole thing with Cadwell too is the first time I seen it, I was like, dude, this is absolutely amazing. Right. Way back in the day, years ago. And then they had them on some PlayStation games, but then, I did research and actually learned the history of the track, the dad, the two sons, the dirt bike first track, and then the whole history of it. And I was like, man, what a way to organize and come up with a professional racetrack that's just out of this world, right? So to me, it's like it is a proper racetrack all in one. So it's kind of like the back section after the mountain's kind of like a roads race, because everything's so close. You got tire walls right here. I mean, you don't want to crash there, right? And then those last two right-handers, like, you don't want to go off there because you're going to go through the fence right there, right, with a bunch of tires. So, and then all of a sudden, that last right-hander, like you said, as soon as you come down the straight, it all opens up, turn one, which is absolutely amazing corner. Oh my God, it's brilliant. So Dave Neal's a good friend of mine, Off Track Podcast. And when I met him there, he was like, dude, you got to go see turn one. So we went over there and watched them, and I was like, this is absolutely crazy, because they backshift one time, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on a super bike, fifth, sixth gear. I mean, they are fast. And then when it comes left, it goes over to the right, and it's a blind right, uphill, and you can't see over that corner at all. You have no idea where you're going, right? And I'm standing there watching them. I'm like, it's track knowledge, obviously, right? You got to be there, know your lines. But what a brilliant racetrack it is! It's absolutely
amazing. It's one of those. It's you're right. It feels narrow when you're in that section on whole bends and the old hairpin and barn, but it's not actually a narrow track. It just looks narrow because you're between the trees, so it feels really narrow. But yeah, it's a really brilliant track. And you're right, that first corner, Coppice, is just unbelievable. You're down on the straight, literally full gas, under the bridge, not the gear, and then full pelt up that left. And it's so steep that you have to take it that way. It's a bit like Hawthorne on Brands Hatch GP on a long curve. When you did a long one, same thing. You have to carry the speed around it because it's so uphill. If you don't, you lose so much speed so quickly. So yeah, it's a brilliant track. I love it.
It is, and it's just like anything. Weefrenchie, you see a track, you might play it on a video game just to know your way around it. But when you get there, you don't realize how hilly, how steep, how much of a bank and all this is. It's like, yeah, it's a proper track. Like over here in America, like our tracks are, obviously we don't have nothing like Cadwell. I wish, but I've been to Brands Hatch and it's super wide, nothing compared to Cadwell, right? Cadwell's definitely narrower than Brands. But to me, Cadwell's like old school proper. You got a small scrutineering, you got a little shop, you got a couple little people cooking you bacon, egg, and cheeses and all that good stuff, right? And people are just everywhere, Then you go to the bigger tracks where they got proper garages and all that. It's just a different atmosphere. It's the same atmosphere, but a different feel. Like it's more new school type of racing versus kind of old proper at Cadwell, right? Just the way the layout, the setup, the vibe. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's a really well maintained circuit, and it's one of the most famous ones in the UK. So it's weird. It's weird. I mean, it's one of those, they can't really make it wider if they wanted to because of the layout. And the actual garages should be in the middle of the circuit, but of course you can't access it unless they open a track. So it's a very weird setup. And in fact, racing endurance there is always so complicated, because you come up on, say, the Friday or Thursday night to set up, and you set up in a paddock which is outside the track. And then on the Friday night, you're allowed to drive down in the van to the garages. You're on a start finish, and then from there, you've got to set everything up. But obviously, if you've got several riders who are doing endurance and potentially others doing sprints, or if you're doing both yourself, you have to think about how much kit you're going to take down to the garages and how much kit you're going to leave at the top. And you have to set everything up and run off with Jenny at the bottom, and come back down on a Saturday morning and just run from there. And once the race starts, you're landlocked, you can't get out. So that's always quite exciting.
Yeah, it is. But also the thing that Cadwell to me has got going more than it's different than all the other circuits, even in the UK or basically anywhere, is that, yeah, you're right. The pits are down there at the bottom. So for us fans, right, that don't know anybody that needs a special pass or whatever, to where you can actually get down there and meet your heroes, right? They have to cross there. So you're guaranteed to meet Storm Stacy, Tommy Birdwell, Josh Brooks. I mean, the list goes on, right? And what I found was everybody was absolutely amazing. Every time I was like, can I get a picture? They're like, of course, when I talk, they're like, where are you from? I'm from Roanoke, Virginia. Woo, let's go. I'm such a fan. And everybody's like, holy shit, dude, your energy and it's like crazy. It was absolutely amazing though. But that's one thing they do got going for Cadwell, right? So the people that show up can actually and will, it's hard not to run into Tommy Birdwell or Peter Hickman I mean, it's really hard not to. So over here, go ahead. Sorry.
Even when they're not in the garages, or if you're not at the bottom, everything else, all the hospitality and everything else is set up in a paddock, and the paddock is just accessible to anyone who's got a ticket. So it's really great. You can just literally hang out with, and you bump into people a lot. So it's really nice circuit for sure.
Absolutely. And so what we do here in America, in Moto America, is we have an open pit policy, pretty much. That's what I call it. So basically, Weefrenchie, you pay your $85, your $80 for the weekend ticket, your $25 to park for the weekend, right? You show up and you walk down, you got full access to anybody. You can walk straight up to Attack Yamaha, and you're literally, they have a little barrier set up, right? Of course, they're big awning with the semi and all that, but they have a little barrier set up in front, and you're literally like 5-6 feet from the mechanics working on the motorcycles. Here comes Jake Gagne out the rig, right? You can, everybody is full accessible, and I love that about it, right? I think a lot of other World Superbike, MotoGP, BSB, I think, Japan Superbike, Australia, all of them, I think they would benefit, because I'm talking as a fan standpoint, right? So going to the races is not cheap, right? It's just not, even for a fan, especially if it's 3 states away, 2 states away. You got the gas, the travel, the food, the hotel, the blah, blah, blah. You spend all this money and you go to like MotoGP. I go there every year in Texas. If you don't buy the exclusive pit pass, it's $325. That don't include your $80, $90 ticket just to get in. That's just solely a pass to go behind the paddock. So you see the riders coming in and out of the back of the garages like you do on TV. So yeah, you're guaranteed to meet them all. Okay. Without that, you're spending $3,000 and they have a fan pit walk, but MotoGP don't make the riders come out and meet the fans. Right. So they open up the garages and yeah, some riders do come out, but man, it's like 10 minutes, right? Because you got 5,000 people down there rushing, trying to get autographs, right? So it's to me, it's like, it's just, as a fan, man, you spend all that. Why do I want to go back and watch it live when I'm not even going to meet nobody I really want to meet, when I can just sit at home and buy parts for my motorcycle, race tires, so I can go do a track day or body work or whatever it is, right? I need. It's just, but that's what we do really well here in America is open pit policy, and it's absolutely brilliant, right? At the flip side of that, though, Moto America also makes the professional teams. I don't mean to say that. I take that back. All the high end teams, right? They have to go out there during the fan pit walk, even if you don't catch them walking around or standing in front, because mass chaos is going on, right? So they make them go out so the fans actually have opportunity to pretty much meet everybody anyway, which I think is another brilliant idea, right? But it can be kind of chaos. But they do a really good job of, and the fans of do a good job of staying out the way, right? Especially when you hear the speaker qualifying, practice, all this stuff goes on, so everybody gives everybody room. But it's a brilliant idea for sure, absolutely.
Yeah. And BSB is quite open, really. So you can walk to the garages, you can speak to riders if you see them. Just, I think when you ride yourself, you kind of know that they need their own space to practice and do that kind of stuff. So, being respectful. Pit walk's great. You can go and meet the riders if you want and get a signature. It's not very long, but it's nice how that World Superbike is completely different. I've attended a few and it's just so different. A lot more guarded. I've been to one MotoGP event and that was even like more. You can't go there, can't enter. So fair enough. I mean, I get also, they've got, at that level of competition, they've got their own sort of trade secrets and things that they don't want everyone to see. So, there's other things that they're not necessarily keen on having people seeing or whatever, spying on. But,
well, it's a double-edged sword, right? But it's absolutely amazing for the fans, and it can get definitely hectic. And so Cadwell too, another thing, BSB, like I'm a huge fan. Everybody knows it's my favorite race series out of all of them, except for the TT. That is absolutely hands down that cream of the crop to me. But the difference in fans, like, dude, Friday, so Cadwell was Saturday, Sunday, Monday. On Saturday, it was way more people there than there is on a Sunday at Moto America. And I was like, because, obviously bikes are so much bigger over there in Europe than they are over here in America. And the fans are more into it, right? So people clap, people cheer, people do all that. We do it here in Moto America too. It's just different, right? It's I wish it would be more lively and more into it. Some are, some aren't. But what we do have is the bagger class, and that is absolutely amazing. I know you've seen the bagger racing, have you not?
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy. So go ahead. Sorry.
I follow Patricia Fernandez.
Yeah,
she talks about it a lot, and I just think it's hilarious. I mean, it's hilarious in a great way. It's just, I'd love to actually see it live. So I'll have to organize, come in, and probably see it.
Absolutely. It's those bikes, they're like $100,000+ in those bikes. It blew my mind. I'm friends with Max Flinders. He races in the superbike class, in the bagger class, and I had him on the pod. So anyway, we meet in Jersey, and I'm asking him, I'm like, man, and my dad's really into it. He's like, dude, this is the baddest Harley I've ever seen. I was like, at first I was like, it's probably got 50 grand in it. Max was like, nah, 100+. And I was like, holy shit, right? That's crazy. And when I was out there, I actually talked to Stuart Higgs, and he told me that supposedly you guys are getting the baggers there in BSB in the next couple of years, which would be
no way.
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome? But I don't see the baggers at Cadwell, right? But that would be absolutely amazing. You I would say put Josh Brooks on one. I got to see Josh Brooks on a bagger jumping the mountain, right?
Yeah, that would be amazing if they did it. It's just, yeah, that would be brilliant, actually. But you're right, baggers at Cadwell, I'm not sure how that would work.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. So, so Peter Marsh is in here, a good mate of mine. His son, Jake Marsh, races in the GP2 class. Yeah, in BSB. They're a big supporter of Pendergast. They are just absolutely amazing people. But he actually has a question. He says, good evening, Chris. I've only just joined, so missed the intro. So Weefrenchie, I would love to know about you in racing, coach, and rider.
I'm a rider, I'm a racer, and as of this year, I'm also a coach. So yeah, started riding, I don't know, 2005, racing about 2015. Raced mostly endurance, but also sprints. Absolutely love endurance, though it's just a completely different style of riding and racing. It's just so different. Yeah, you get, I mean, we race for 45 minutes to an hour, so it's just, you know, you do so many laps. And it teaches you a lot about overtaking and, you know, getting where you want to be without endangering yourself or anyone else. And you know, it's all about finishing in good time. So yeah. And in coaching, well, I've always wanted to help others get into this sport that I love. So I decided to do my coaching license starting last year, and I've just finished and obtained my final license last week. And yeah, so hopefully I can help others now with their riding. And I've literally just started. So I had my first client, who was Nikki Williams, last few days. I think it was on Tuesday, Wednesday this week at Andalusia. And we had a good time, and we're going to do more days this year, which I'm looking forward to. And I guess partly some of that was also because I want to help women get in the sport, not necessarily just push women on the sport, but just show women that we can be competitive. And so and also, you know, that there are women coaches out there. So it's just a different approach, really. Women have a different approach from guys. Not necessarily better, just different. And it's probably less intimidated when there's someone who's like you know, to come and talk to. So that's that. In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, yeah. It's listen, I think the women absolutely should be racing. You know, I have women racers actually. Big shout out to Mallory Dobbs, FIM, right? She is teammates with my other female, Lizzie Whitmore. Big shout out, right? Yes, they are teammates. So two of my friends are going to FIM Women's Cup, and they're going to be teammates. How proper mega is that, right?
That is amazing.
Oh, I can't wait. You know, and then I know Jody Fieldhouse. She is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And then of course we already said Chloe Jones, right? And then of course out here in Moto America we got Michaela Moore. I mean, the list goes on and on. And so over here we have what the Royal Enfield. What they do, the class is really cool. Weefrenchie. So it's all Royal Enfields, and it's all beginner racers, right? And females, they're all females, and they drop the bike off, and you got to do all the work. You do your clip-ons, you build the bike yourself. And during the race weekend, you got to take care of everything yourself, your oil changes, the whole nine, right? So you get the whole aspect of it, and it's a championship, and it's absolutely amazing. You know, we got a lot of talent out here as far as females go, and I'm so happy to see they have an all series just for you guys, right? I think it's just brilliant. What do you think about that?
Before I jump into that, I need to unplug my microphone, and I'll come right back on because my battery's about to die.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Pete, that's absolutely a brilliant idea. So
okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, I can.
Brilliant.
All right.
Yeah, so the woman thing, I think I've never been a fan of women only racing, only because one thing I love about motorbike racing is that it's non-discriminatory. So it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a guy, you can just register and run, and I love that. However, there's no denying that the fastest riders in the world right now are mostly male, and so it's great to have a forum and you know, a way to kind of showcase the talent that we have with women. So I'm really pleased about that from that perspective. I think there's going to be some really great battles. I can't wait actually to see it. I actually mentioned, I spoke to Faye Ho briefly a couple of years ago about potentially looking at doing a women's championship, but without all of us being on track at the same time, because especially in the UK, we all have different bikes and we all race in different classes. And so having everyone on the same would have been difficult. But I was trying to find a way of how we could compare our performance on different tracks based on the bikes that we're all on to see, you know, how we're doing against each other. But then just as I wanted to start doing that, the number of women racing in the UK went like straight through, like, and just fell completely. So I didn't do it. So having this coming up, I think is going to be really exciting. I can't wait to see who's going to come out on top. I know Anna Carrasco is doing it as well, and that's going to be really interesting to have an eye on that. There's a lot of big names in there. I'm really, really looking forward to it. And it's great to see so many different countries represented as well.
Yeah, I actually Tara, man, I can't remember her last name. She's actually racing there. I talked to her. It's I think we lost her. Hang on, guys. She'll be right back. Peter, I will definitely ask her, but Peter says we have wanted to work with a female for a while, R&D, and now have an amazing rider this year. Remember this name, Alicia Layton is one to follow. Well, Peter, you already know we need to get Alicia on the podcast. 110%. Absolutely. Here she is. All right.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's all
My
good.
phone died.
Listen, it's perfect. No worries, right? So actually, Peter, my mate Peter Marsh, says, and so I have a good friend too, Gary Asheed, and his wife Jane. They actually run the California Superbike School there in the UK.
Oh yeah.
And Peter says that we should intro you to the California Superbike School UK. Always looking for some coaches.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah,
Do you know, I've been meaning to get in touch with them actually, so I really like the training that they do, and it's just been one of those. Last year was so busy with the racing, both the endurance to sprints and the coaching and everything else. And yeah, I'd love to. That'd be great.
Yeah, I could put you direct contact with them. Absolutely. So yeah, we'll talk about all that after. Yeah. And then Peter also says we have wanted to work with a female rider for a while at RD Racing, and now have an amazing rider this year. Remember this name, Alicia Layton is one to follow.
Yes.
That's awesome. He says she will be doing the new junior super sport class at Bimsey this year. Yep, nice.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good. You know, as far as going back real quick, touching back on the FIM all women's, of course, you already know who I want to win. I went my two friends, Lizzie and Mallory Dobbs to win. I want them to be 1-2. What order? Man, I'm friends with both of them. I just want to see them on top of the step, right? And the whole team, I want to see them absolutely murdered, because Lindsay's proper fast. Mallory is too, and they've actually had several phone calls together. So I'm just so excited. It makes me even more hype, you know, because I know the people that are going to be there riding, and the sacrifices and the hard work that everybody puts in. That's one thing that people don't realize is how much work you guys put in as racers. It don't matter if you're female, male, whatever it is, right? There's so much effort that you guys put into that. Money, it's so expensive. It's like I say, this is for everybody. Watch this. Mm-hmm. Yes, nothing but love. Yeah, you like that, didn't you? Yeah. So it's I'm just happy to see it. I really am. I think it's gonna be great for the whole series in general.
Yeah,
as a whole.
Agree.
So absolutely 100%. So what's the plans for 2025? I mean 2024. Duh, we
2024, yeah. We haven't done that one yet. 24. So I'm going to do some racing, just not as much as last year, only because I just don't have the funds to do another season like I did last year. And I need to take a little break, really. I had a crash on the last day of the last season. Another rider and I came together, and I ended up being dragged for maybe 150 meters or something, and it's thrown off the bike. I hurt my ankle a lot. I tore some ligaments in my ankle, tore the muscle on top of my calf. And it's taken a lot to come back from it. And even now, my ankle swells up as soon as I spend a few hours riding. And so it's not particularly great. So I want to heal properly before I just jump back into racing fully. So I'm back into training and things. But yeah, so I'll do some racing this year, just not a whole season. Most likely no limits racing. But I might see if I can join some other classes in different clubs. And then mostly coaching, really. I want to try and focus on that, a bit more coaching. I'm quite keen to try and help younger riders come through as well. You know, I met this lovely rider. When was it? When I did the ACU, actually. She's Daisy, her name is. She's just starting. She's literally started riding 4 weeks prior, and she just wants to race. And I was just like, I'd love to help you get that. There's a lot you need to know, racecraft and how to ride on track and that kind of stuff. And I'd love to help. So, and I want to get involved a bit more in helping younger riders do progress effectively. But that, and then my husband and I have a little side project as well on racing. He's a race engineer, so he's a bit of a genius, like a magician with bikes. He I don't know how he does it, but he always finds a way to make the bike handle exactly as I wanted to or as I needed to. And so part of me riding so well is actually my husband look after the bike so well. He's brilliant with it. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, his business is called Tripep Racing. He's been doing this for quite a long time. Quite a few championships under their belt. Obviously, last year runner-up was so close. But yeah, so we've got a project to put something together into an app to help everyone with the racing side of things. So I don't want to say too much just yet, but hopefully you and I can catch up in a few months and then I'll show you all about it.
Absolutely, we will. Is your husband standing right there with you?
He's in the next room, but I think he's listening. Do you want to say hello?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know you're listening, so come on in and say hi. Yeah. Good stuff.
Hold on.
So do you and him actually do endurance racing together, you two?
We did. So we come and say hi.
Come and say hi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, how we doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
My husband.
How you doing, my man?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I've been sat through there listening intently.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're dragging the questions out. It's quite good.
Thank you.
Getting the answers.
Yeah.
So we did race together when I was 2019. I think it was that season, just at the end of the COVID lockdown, and so we only had 4 rounds in that season, and we decided to race together. And we used to be very similar levels, so it was a great team, and we were doing really well. And we were on our last round at Donington, lining up for a nice podium finish, and then I crashed. I don't crash often, but I do. I crashed, and unfortunately, I did have the season in hospital. But other than that, he races sprints as well. But like I said, last couple of years, he's been focusing on me mainly. So
yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome. Absolutely.
We do what we do, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant to have a couple that's into it and that commitment of one giving up, right, to focus on you to live your dream, but you're still living the dream together, right? It's just a different aspect.
Yeah, for sure. So we were both out in Spain last week. It was brilliant, just riding in the sun and seeing each other on track. It was it is quite special. Sometimes you kind of forget because you're working with bikes every day. You kind of lose track of when the weight of the world gets on you a little bit, but then you sort of stand back for a second and realize you're living the dream and you're riding bikes and enjoying life.
Yep.
Absolutely. It is. So we actually have another comment by Nikki. Nikki says, in all honesty, Ash bike setup knowledge is off the scale. Everyone goes to him with their setup issues.
You gotta love this guy, ain't you?
Yeah, Nikki's awesome. Yeah. So that's what I've heard too. I heard that that's what she says. You're absolutely brilliant at bike setup, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. We usually end up at racing weekends and we have a stream of people coming in saying, Ash, what do you think of this? What do you think
how
of
do
that?
I do this? It's just time with the spanners, isn't it? It's like anything, you're good at what you do. Everybody's good at what they do regularly. So it is just that. It's remembering.
It is.
Being involved.
So humble.
Absolutely brilliant. So how did you and Chloe end up meeting?
I don't remember the first time I met Chloe actually. No, I do remember. Sorry, it was 2022, and we'd started talking about putting together a women's team, and I thought, oh, Chloe Jones, she rides a 600. It might be good fun. And I went to see her at a BSB event at Brands Hatch. And I met her for like 5 minutes literally because she was just about to go out for another race, and I just spoke to her mum mainly. And we chatted after that. About racing, but she had other plans, so she ended up not racing with us. But she was initially my first choice. I'm pretty sure if she had actually said yes, we would have finished first by a margin. But it is what it is. But yeah, and then we just bumped into each other after that at Alton Park, and we've actually been, talking quite a lot since. I really like Chloe. She's brilliant, and she's got such a great attitude. I remember on the last race on Donington, she said to me, "Right, what do we need to do to win this?" I said, "Well, we need to win it." "Right, that's fine. We can do that." And off she went. We didn't quite win it, but still, it was just brilliant. But yeah, we've been talking a lot actually. I know she's doing a 660. She's racing on a 660 Aprilia this year. I'm really looking forward to how she's doing on that. And yeah, similar with Chloe, really, I want to help if I can in any way, shape, or form. She's a faster and better rider than I am, so I'm not sure I can help on the coaching side. But anything else I can help with, I'm always there. But yeah.
I'm sure you can absolutely help her out on the coaching side. No doubt. Absolutely you can. I mean, because when you're standing there watching as you coach, do you ride with them on track too as well, but do you stand on the side and watch them at like certain corners and be like, "Hey, I noticed you're doing this. You need to do this"?
I do mostly on-track coaching.
Okay.
Ash tends to do a lot more of the side of the track coaching. So he'll observe, and then he used to do that with me actually. He'll watch me ride, and then I'll come back and he'll say, "I've noticed you do that." And I kind of, "Why are you doing this?" Well, we'll have a little chat about it, and then he did change something on the bike, or I would change what I do, and it works well. So it's, again, this whole team thing just works really well. So I'm an on-track coach. Ash does support on obviously off-track, and potential coaching track side as well. So yeah.
That's awesome. And as you're a typical race weekend, do you have any like rituals you do? Because some racers wear their socks inside out. They put everything on the left, right? No, seriously, they put everything on. So listen, the inside socks. Hold up, real quick. My buddy Nolan Lampkin. He is he won the super stock class out here in Moto America. So I asked him this question. He's like, "Not really, but I wear my socks inside out." And I was like, "Why would you wear your socks inside out?" He's like, "Because you notice when you put your socks on in the front of the toes, it has that seam." He's like, "Well, if you wear them inside out, you don't have that seam." And I was like, what a brilliant idea. So now I wear my socks inside out. I will not wear them regularly, right? Even when I go ride, my riding socks are inside out, right? So,
I've got to try that.
Yeah, you have to try that too.
Absolutely. So what's your pre-game rituals?
So I guess I'm not sure it's a ritual as such, but I always wear superhero base layers. So my favorite are the Wonder Woman ones. So I have a few with my Wonder Woman top and Wonder Woman base layers, and it's just one of those things. It's all about mental prep, and it comes back to years ago. One day at work, one of my managers, she was great, and she said to me, "If you're nervous about something, just go to the bathroom, stand in front of the mirror, Wonder Woman pose for 10 minutes. Just look at yourself, stand tall." And shockingly, it really works. It just gives you that sort of peace and confidence. And so I've been doing that actually since for lots of things. And I started wearing my Wonder Woman top, and sometimes I have, I don't know, Supergirl or Superman or something else. And I love the superhero base layers, and that's what I do. But in terms of rituals, I don't really have anything weird. I do some prep with just like figures of 8 for my thumb, just to get my focus, and I'll focus on one point, and I'll visualize the track whilst I'm doing that, and I do a few bits of exercise just to get my heart pumping a little bit, and I use a bit of box breathing as well, just to calm my heart rate if I get a bit nervous. But other than that, not really anything specific, really, just superhero thing.
That's brilliant. Superman's my favorite. Always has been since I was a little kid. Yeah. Superman, 110%, right? It's funny you say that, because I do the same thing. Before every podcast, I look at myself in the mirror and I have this conversation. It's just something I do. Like my wife comes around the corner and she's like, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "Myself." And she's like, "Why?" I was like, "It's just a way for me to mentally prepare myself, you know, for a podcast." It's because I get so excited, my anxiety kicks in, you know, I get nervous, my hands get sweaty. So sometimes I got a wet washcloth right here sitting beside me just to wipe my hands. I mean, yeah, I love it. And once we go live, and I see my guest, all that goes away, right? But it's the anticipation, the whole build up, the man, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to, you know, just everything that goes along with it. You know, I just look in the mirror, have my conversation, and I'm like you, I breathe. I do the Wim Hof method. You guys heard of Wim Hof?
No.
The Iceman?
No.
Okay, so okay. So Wim Hof, yeah. So what he does is he's real big into ice baths, right? So, but also with that, he does breathing. So his breathing technique is you breathe in as much as you can, but you exhale only a little bit. So what you do is you push all the CO2 out of your system. You fill your whole body with nothing but oxygen, right? And from that, I do my push-ups and my planks and stuff, right? And so I got to a point where I could do 50 push-ups with my breath held just by doing my 30 deep breaths, holding my breath and just knocking them out, right? And I'm not sore the next day, because what makes your muscles tired and sore is all that CO2 and all that acidity in your muscles, right? Because you get strained and tired. But when you fill your body up full of nothing but oxygen and you do it, it's absolutely amazing. And it calms, it calms your mind. It just puts you in that feel good mood, right? So same concept as when you take an ice bath. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. So when you first get in up to your shoulders, it's super cold, your breath, right? So the whole point is you want to get your breathing under control when you're in that water, right? And once you do that, the water's not cold no more. It's absolutely brilliant and amazing. And you get back out, it's like this whole euphoria. It's hard to explain, but yeah, look them up. Wim Hof. Absolutely. It's
yes.
It's absolutely good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. So listen, we've been at this for an hour already. I want to get away from all the motorcycle stuff. I want to get into like other things, right? So I'm a big book reader. I take it back. I'm an audio book reader, right? I listener. I don't, if I read a book, I end up falling, unless it's a motorcycle book related, which I just got one. Well, I've had it for a little while.
I've got the same book right there next to me.
Right. Big shout out to my man, Andy Ibbett, for actually sending me this book. Dude, brilliant guy. Absolutely. So yeah, I've been reading that one. But as far as audio books, I just got done listening to the Matthew McConaughey Greenlight. It is absolutely amazing. Yes, I highly recommend it. And I just got done last night with Gunther, the Haas F1 principal. Okay. His book. Yeah, it's different. His book is different, right? It's all F1. I thought it'd be more like kind of personal too at the same time, but it's not. It's like this is how it is. Saturday, February 28th. Amolia, and he goes in this whole kind of spiel, and he's like, okay, good night. Next day, Sunday, February 29th, this, and I'm like, it was kind of hard to stay into it, right, because of that. But are you a book enthusiast yourself?
Yeah, so it's a weird one. I used to read loads and loads and loads. I don't read so much these days, only because I don't find the time usually, but I have a few books on the go, actually. I started reading the Patrick Stewart's book. You know Patrick Stewart? Mm-hmm. I'm a massive Trekkie, I have to say. Live long and prosper. And I think he's an amazing actor. So his book came out, so I bought it, and I've started reading that. But then I also started reading Barack Obama's book, and I still haven't finished it. And I started reading the book that you were holding a minute ago. I started lots of books. It's just different days. I'm in different moods, and I want to do different things. So it just depends on the days. But yeah, I like a good story. I think the last book that I actually finished was Matthew Perry's book, Rest in Peace.
Oh, is that good?
That was brilliant. That was really, really brilliant. I just couldn't put it down. I read it like that.
Yeah, that's because I thought about getting that for sure. So Matthew McConaughey's is like that. You start listening to it, you're like, I just one more chapter, and then I'm 3 hours into it, right? I'm like, shit, I gotta go do this, right? often in this book, it's so to me, obviously you guys know I'm a huge motorcycle fan, right? So I read and listened to pretty much every motorcycle autobiography out there on the planet. They're all good in their own ways, right? Some just tell their childhood to racing, others tell the shit behind the scenes. And that's the shit that I really like, is the behind the scenes you don't never hear about, because a lot of the books are the same. Everybody's story is different, but almost the same, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But John Hopkins Leathered is absolutely the best autobiography motorcycle racing book I've read, listened to this day, hands down. You guys should absolutely. He don't hold nothing back. He talks about his alcohol addiction, his drug addiction, smoking weed, and then getting on a MotoGP bike and racing it. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. I love that, right? It's real, it's raw, it's emotional, it's absolutely brilliant, hands down book.
Matthew Perry's book exactly like that.
Okay.
It's very very graphic,
open.
Yeah. Very much everything that went on, and no hiding anything.
Yeah, it's but those books I love, man, because it's like they actually telling the truth. It's like they look in the mirror and they're talking to themselves of all their problems and trials and tribulations, and it to me it grabs you and it just takes you on this journey, and also like crime books too, right? I like the all that CSI and all that jazzy stuff sometimes, because you got to change it up, right? You can't just stick to motorcycle. Well, okay, I take it back. You can't just stick to motorcycles all the time, but it's always good to have a breath of fresh air sometimes, right? Yeah, absolutely. So, do you guys listen to any podcasts yourselves, or?
Actually, I don't really. I've listened to yours a few times, but I haven't really seen. I don't really listen to any others. It's just I'll be completely honest with you. My work is so time consuming, and I'm a business consultant, and so I spend most of my week working on the other people's businesses, and it's so consuming. By the time I finish work, I'm just so tired, and I just don't want to do anything, and I don't have the brain power to do anything else until eventually either we go riding somewhere, in which case I switch off work and then I start the riding side, and then I'm all about riding, or we go away somewhere. If we stay home, we end up doing DIY, which is always one of those. Again, lots of things started, which we'll finish bit by bit. But
thank you for listening to my podcast. Absolute honor. It really is. Yeah, absolutely. So music, what kind of music are you guys into? Because I can listen to Morgan Wallen to Bob Marley to Aerosmith to a little bit of rap to Frank Sinatra. I mean, I'm everywhere, right? And I'm the type of person too. I could literally be jamming Frank Sinatra and then put on, Kid Rock, and then turn around and put on, whatever. What do you guys listen to?
It's pretty much my playlist.
Pretty much like that. I mean, we really like jazz, both of us, and. I don't know, some bit of classical, and we're doing something that requires a bit of concentration. There's nothing wrong with that. Love some proper music that moves. Love country. I love country. That's probably one of my favorites, actually. We haven't actually had our official honeymoon yet. We had what we call a mini moon. We haven't done a full moon yet. The full moon is supposed to be a travel through the US, and we're going to go to Nashville, and we're going to go to lots of places, and we're going to go and watch some real country. So can't wait for that. We're actually going to Texas in May to the Colin Edwards Texas Tornado Boot Camp.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are you really? You're going to have fun. Edwards is absolutely amazing. He's man, listen, I miss Edwards being in the sport. He's a character we need back in the sport. Who can ever forget 2011 at Silverstone, rider auction charity? He broke his shoulder that weekend. He comes up on stage, grabs the microphone, and he's like, I think Jorge Lorenzo is gay. And I loved it. I spit the drink out I was taking a sip and was just like all over the place, right? Absolutely amazing. I love it. What a character. You're going to have so much fun. I've never been. Met Edwards many, many times.
I can't wait.
I'm actually jealous. It's going to be, so you guys get to shoot guns too, right? So obviously everybody knows us Americans are big into our guns, right? You're going to have so much fun. You get to do, his son is absolutely fast. proper. So I'm going to Texas in April for the MotoGP race.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I go every year. Me and my best friend Jason, he lives in Oklahoma, so I fly out there to him, and then we drive. It's only a 5-hour drive instead of flying into Texas. No, it just gives us opportunity to actually spend more time together instead of him driving from Oklahoma and then pick me up at the airport, and all that. We get to actually spend some time together, right? So yeah, it's good stuff, man. So this is my next question: Star Wars or Star Trek? But you already answered that because you're a Trekkie, right? Yeah. So what Star Trek character would you be?
Oh man, that's a great question.
One, isn't it?
Probably Picard. I'd be Picard. I'd be the captain. Yeah. Just like boldly go when no one has gone before. Yeah, but I'm still looking after people, and I don't want to hurt anyone. But I want to discover new stuff, and I want to be brave. Yeah, that'd be me. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Great answer. I love it. And so Peter Marsh said, right, I'm off, Chris. A great listen as normal. And Weefrenchie might see you if you come to the school or around the BSB paddock. In fact, we may put out an RD racing team at the No Limits Endurance at Snetterton. Hey, if you ever wanted to help bring kids through from British mini bikes to BMEs to BSB, then give us a shout at RD Racing. Always liking for riders to help with the amazing kids we have in the team.
Brilliant.
So listen, I can put you direct contact with my mate Peter. Peter, absolutely nothing. Let's see if I get this to work again. There it is. Nothing but love to RD Racing, Pete Marsh, and all that. Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, it's absolutely amazing. So, food. What is your favorite food?
Oh man.
Just one?
Cheese.
Is there one favorite food?
Yeah, right? Is there just one?
French cheese. No, I love cheese with bread. Yeah, it's gotta be my favorite food.
Cheese bread.
Yeah.
Love good cheese, proper cheese, but not like. I'm sorry for anyone who's from Britannia, but not cheddar. It's a bit boring. I like proper cheese, like French cheese, when you get all sorts of different flavors and kinds, and there's just so many. It's amazing. Yeah. And some good cheese with some really nice freshly baked bread is just the best thing ever. Yeah,
it absolutely. So actually this morning we have one of our grocery stores. They bake their own bread. They don't do a whole lot. They do like a couple loaves, but they make an Asiago cheese bread, right? So what I do is I go out there and I buy it. I come home, I slice it, and I make a BLT, right? But I put avocados on it, and it's absolutely amazing, right? You get good BLT with some avocados, big, not thin sliced tomato. I like the thick sliced tomato, right, with a little bit of salt on it. Not a lot, just a little bit, because every tomato needs just a hint, right? Just a little pinch of salt on it. Yeah, it's absolutely. I actually, Alyssa, Lizzie's watching. What is up, Lizzie Whitmore? She said, "You just made me really hungry." I wish I had.
Your favorite food was just crisp sandwiches, right? That's your favorite food, isn't it?
That's awesome. Malcolm Shorter says, "I'm late. Hey, is this the place for free T-shirts?" With the laughing emoji. So usually, that's what I do. Is every guest that I have on, I send everybody, my guest, a free T-shirt. I don't have any right now.
What?
I'm out. I got some stickers, but I am going to get some more in. And actually, I get my merch done by the clothingkings.co.uk out there. Yeah.
We're looking for somebody actually for doing some of our stuff. So
yes,
listen, we will chat after this. All right. Absolutely. We'll chat after this. But so my favorite food, man, it's like you said, it's a kind of a broad question, right? Because I think in my head, I'm like, dude, I love Thai food. I love Indian food. I love Greek food. I love Mexican food. I love pasta. But if I was just to choose one food to eat for the rest of my life, God, that's so hard. I'd probably have to go Greek. Absolute Greek food, because I love olives. I love feta cheese. I love the salads. I love the fresh stuff, right? I'm really into cucumbers and all that stuff. It's absolutely. And it's very healthy food too, right?
It is, yeah. It is nice, yeah. Mediterranean food for sure.
But I love spicy. I'm absolute nut over spicy food. I mean, have you guys ever watched the hot ones on YouTube?
No.
Okay, so check it out. There's this guy on YouTube, and he gets millions of views. So what he does, he has 10 chicken wings from the most mild to like 3.5 million Scoville, the hot, right? And he interviews celebrities, and they eat. He ask them questions while they're eating these 10 wings, and it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, right? So I was like, man, I need some of this hot sauce. So I get it, and I like really, really hot stuff. Not all the time. I got to be really in the mood if I'm gonna be like, you know what, I'm trying to burn myself up for the next 2 or 3 days. Yeah, let's go. But I do like spicy food. Malcolm said soft taco supreme for me. Soft taco supremes are good.
I can't do spices. I wasn't brought up with spices. I was brought up with traditional homemade French food, and I can't do spices. So I'll have a korma, and I'll cry when I eat it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, what advice would you give your younger self?
Don't worry about what people think.
Listen, I find that happens not only in our sport, but in all aspects of life in general, right? Too many people are worried about what people think of you. So being a dad, right? My son's 11, and I really didn't think of it right until watching my son grow up, and people getting like a certain outfit or clothes or a video game or whatever it is, where like you got to have it, otherwise you don't fit in. And I'm like, absolutely not, man. You want to, you're your own person. You do your own thing, beat to your own drum, just like me. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care if somebody come on here right now and say, you suck, you should quit podcasting, blah, blah, blah. I say, thank you for all the love and support. Right. Yeah. I mean, whatever, and just roll it off like, okay, whatever. It's just, life's too short to be worried about what people think of you. Cause at the end of the day.
Yeah. It took me a long time. I spent a long time when I was much younger, and I tried to fit in a lot. And it took me a very long time to realize, or to start sort of thinking, why am I spending all my energy trying to fit in with people who, if people don't accept you, why are you trying so hard to be with them? And I remember it was a weird one, but one year I decided to just literally draw a line on the names of people that never got in touch with me and that I always got in touch with. And I thought, if we're friends, you'll get in touch. And the number of people I knew just drew massively small, but the people who were left are actually really good friends, and we're still friends to this day. And I've actually since met other people who have become really good friends, and I try not to spend to waste energy or time on that anymore. I do what I want. I try not to upset people. I'm kind, I'm respectful, but I have to be my own person. So
yeah, no, I'm the same way. I used to spend way too much energy focusing on what people thought of me and how they thought of me and all that. And I'm just like, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm me. You love me, you hate me, whatever. Let's just go have a good time. Let's go ride bikes, right? Let's go watch some racing. Forget what you're talking about. Yeah. So I asked this to everybody, right? Because everybody's got one. And this is a question for both of you two right here. Okay. Celebrity crush. Who is y'all celebrity crush?
Dwayne Johnson.
There you go, Dwayne Johnson. She was quick with that one too.
Yes, well, I can't help it. He's just he's so cute. Who's yours?
Colin Edwards.
Colin Edwards.
Brilliant answer, bro. I love it, dude. Colin Edwards. I love it, dude. That's awesome. Yeah. So, do you guys play video games like PlayStation or Xbox?
Yeah.
Oh, he does. I don't.
Yeah, proper Call of Duty fan, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I play Call of Duty. I got a PS5, so when we get off here, I play with Harry Cook. I play with a lot of those guys, so we play Ride 5 and all that. Yeah. So we'll do the whole gamer tag and all that cool stuff because I love getting on there and getting my ass kicked and talking shit. Call of Duty I play too. Yeah, absolutely. My son's big into, and then everybody plays Fortnite. Fuck, dude, Fortnite, right? So I try. It's fun, but I don't get the whole concept of building shit while you're shooting, right? Somebody shoots at you, building this whole thing. I'm like, what are you doing? Shoot this guy, right? Like, wait. Yeah, it's but yeah. So favorite racer growing up. Who did you have on your wall? Pictures on your guys' walls?
I didn't start riding until I was 28, so I didn't have a racer on my wall. I
Well,
used to
who is it
have
now?
a poster of who was it? Or a French singer that you won't know, and I had a poster of Michael Jackson on my wall, and I had a poster of Madonna. That was me.
Madonna. Yeah.
Yeah, just cool.
So who's your favorite racer now then?
Me, no, Top Rack. Top Rack, Rascatlioglu. I think he's great. I actually met him at Cadwell very briefly because, you know, he's busy, but he was really kind and really nice and had a little chat with me. And it was that when he came over and he did 3 laps on the circuit.
I remember.
Met, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just standing there watching, and then he just happened to be stood right next to me. So I turned around and I said, "How did you find the mountain?" Yes, it was very good. And I said, How did you approach it? And he said, well, I just did 1 lap first of all to see what the track was like. And then on the second lap, I thought I'd go a little bit more. And then once I did my second lap, I figured out how I could take it. So then on the third lap, I just went for it. And I thought, naturally, it's not like some of us spend months or years trying to get that down. You just did that in 3 laps. But yeah, it was really, really great, actually. Really nice. I like him.
Absolutely. Did you guys watch the World Superbike races this weekend?
Yes.
Just finished it. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
That's the same again. You know, Top Rack on there. It's such a peace of mind when his bike blew up. He's straight off the circuit. So many times you watch and you see the rider sort of trickling round across the track and dropping crap everywhere. And he was literally, he knew the bike had gone. He was straight on the grass and off. So straight away, we both said, you know, look at his peace of mind. He's got to do that.
Just easy.
Yeah.
Right. If you haven't seen it yet, by the way, just don't listen for a minute. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Absolutely spoiler. Right. Yeah, I watched it. Absolutely, I did. Man, you know, World Superbike the whole season, all the changes, right? And at first, when I was like, Top Rack's going to BMW, I was thought, man, I think that Johnny will actually adapt a little bit faster to the Yamaha, right? But then the more I thought about it, I changed my mind. I was like, man, I really think that Top Rack's probably going to adapt to the BMW a lot quicker than Johnny will to the Yamaha. And the reason why I say that is he's been on the Kawasaki for 6-7 years, right? So inline 4. Now he's going to a cross-plane crank Yamaha. He is a 6-time champ, but he has got to learn how to adapt his riding style to get the best out of the Yamaha, because what worked on the Kawasaki is not working on the Yamaha, right? So that's where that mental game and that whole people behind you, that support system trying to help you get comfortable and up to speed, right? Where Top Rack, I think, is just the type of rider to where I don't really think it don't matter what you put underneath them. If it's halfway dialed in, it's fucking send it, right? It's gonna be fast on it. But yeah, it's great. I'm glad to see Iannone back, right, after the 4-year ban, and he won. And then he did that. You see my Anthony Gobert, the Go Show helmet, right?
Yeah,
right there, right? Yeah, and then dude, Iannone had that tribute helmet, and I was like, yeah, absolutely amazing. It was good stuff. Good stuff. Are you guys in beer or wine? Let me ask you this: beer or wine?
Both.
Prefer wine. Prefer rum or wine.
Yeah, rum. Actually, no, I quite like a good beer. Is nice. It's just nice and refreshing. I think so. End of the week it's quite nice. But wine more for I don't know, dinner or when I go to France, because I'm French and my family live in France. So every time I go to France, my dad feels the need to empty the cellar as soon as we get there. So it's wine every day, which is nice. I'm not complaining. But yeah.
It's a mistake to sit next to him at the table because he just keeps pouring.
Keep pouring it. Next thing you know, I'm drunk. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. That's so favorite. So my favorite beer is Guinness. I absolutely love Guinness. But when I went out to the UK, I had Mandry.
Mandry.
Yeah.
Absolutely the best lager I've ever had in my life. It is absolutely amazing. I try to get it here in the States, and they're like, hey, you can't get it. We can't get it, which is
annoying. Yeah.
Boo. Absolute boo. So do you guys watch the TT? I watch it religiously.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I quite like it. I mean, I went to the TT. He hasn't been yet. We're going to take him very soon.
I want to go.
But yeah, I went in 2012. It was the only year where they cancelled the senior race because of the weather. They hadn't cancelled it since World War II. They cancelled it that year because it was raining every day, so everyone was miserable. So then everyone left the island on Saturday night earlier than planned. And we stayed, and Sunday the sun came out, so we had the whole island for ourselves for 3 days, and it was brilliant. It was amazing. Yeah, I like the TT. It's a really great race. It's really impressive. I have to say though, I much prefer watching the Ulster GP, although they're not doing it, or the Northwest 300 or road races like that, only because the grid start and the actual race on the road, I find it's just absolutely unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm jealous. That's on my bucket list. Absolutely
have to do it.
I don't care what it takes. I'll sell my street bike. Seriously, I'm that bad. I want to go because, you know, as you get older, you realize, man, life's very short. You know, we have a very and it's something you can't stop, pause, rewind, take back, or any of that, right? So if you're going to do it while you're young and healthy, and you can do it, why not? Send it. Absolutely, right? So this is my next question. To you guys, who had the greatest TT comeback? Listen, I'm gonna give you two names because there is a bunch that's made a lot of comebacks, right? So I'm gonna give you who had the greatest comeback out of Ian Hutchinson, right? Or Connor Cummins? Who had the greatest TT comeback?
Ooh. I don't know. I want to go with Connor Cummins.
I was going to say Connor Cummins. Yeah, just through that was horrific, wasn't it? Just really when you saw him go over the top of that mountain, you're like, oh my god, you thought that was it. But yeah, I mean, you know, Hutch has gone through a lot with everything, and we actually see him last week, didn't we, in Spain as well? Yeah,
he was with us in Andalusia. Really nice guy.
Yeah, still riding really fast. Just Connor Cummins for me, I think.
Yeah, Connor Cummins too. For the same reason, actually.
Brilliant. I actually had the honor to meet Connor at Cadwell. And obviously, me being the American, being so hyped, watching him for so many years, I'm sure I don't even remember what I said. It was probably a million things that was coming out my mouth. I was like, dude, I'm such a fan. Blah, 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 blah. Can I get a picture? Blah, da, 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 da. And he's probably like, who the fuck is this guy right here? Right? Get him away from me. Yeah. It's you know, I've watched all them guys race, you know, and finally to meet, you know, even Brooks and Tommy Birdwell and dude, all of them, it was an absolute honor. And of course, you know, me being a podcaster, I got a million questions in my head, and I can't sit there I wish I could, right? Be like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it's absolutely, it was awesome. Connor was really cool. I didn't realize how tall he was.
Yeah.
I did on TV. Yeah, I'm like, holy shit, dude. Yeah, he's a tall. Absolutely tall. My buddy Peter Essoff, which he races sidecars. He's actually raced sidecars at the TT. I actually had him on my podcast. Absolute legend. He says, Mike the Bike. Man, listen, Mike had Mike being absent for I forget how many years and then coming back and winning. It was that's absolutely unheard of, right? It's and to come back and do what he did is proper mega. But listen, we're an hour and 32 into this. We will definitely have a part 2 because there's so much more to talk about as far as, you know, No Limits, the coaching, the future of what you guys are doing together, your husband right here and his whole wizardry on a bike and setup and all that. So next time, let's get both of you guys on. I can pick both your brains, and if Chloe Jones is down, we can get her on too as well, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah, because actually I've had Chloe on before, but I was gonna have her and my buddy Jake Marsh on together because they're friends, you know. So I wanted to get. I think it's awesome when I have two racers that are friends that, you know, grow up in the sport together. I love to feel the energy and pick their brains because they feed off each other, right? It's but she was sick the day we were supposed to do it. She's like, man, I've been up throwing up, you know, I might be able to make it. And I'm like, listen, we're not going to have a podcast if you can't make it, Chloe. Well, it's a Chloe Jones and Jake Marsh podcast, right? So we'll just reschedule it. So we hadn't rescheduled it yet, but we are here soon. But listen, before we get off here, I need you to tell everybody how they can find you, and if they want to get you to coach them, social media, you know, all that, No Limits, the whole nine.
So I am mainly on Facebook, and you'll find me as Weefrenchie, and you'll find me on Instagram as well. Instagram is Weefrenchie _racing. And you can get in touch with me via email on racing@weefrenchie.com, or you can go to my website, which is weefrenchie.com. You'll find all information. So my coaching page is going live, maybe not today because it's a bit late now, but hopefully tomorrow. Full details of everything and how to get in touch and how it works and that kind of stuff. Also, I coach from No Limits, so I do days with them. That's free coaching, but it's only like short sessions of 20 minutes. But I'll be at days of No Limits this year as well. No Limits track days.
Absolutely. Great. So I'm surprised you don't have a club, Weefrenchie. Everybody else has got a club. You need to get you a club started.
Early days.
Yeah. No, not at the minute. Maybe later. Yeah.
I think
we trainees.
Yeah, we've got a wee club because I'm Weefrenchie, so we'll have my wee trainees for my coaching and maybe my wee fans and everything else.
Wee fans.
At Wee Fans, a brilliant idea. That would be a great T-shirt. Wee Fans, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So before I end this, man, obviously I got to give some shout outs too, right? So first off, my man Peter Marsh and Jake Marsh, the whole R&D team, man, thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Listen, I'm on their leather suits, their bikes. I never dreamed in a million years, me podcasting for one and for two, having people actually support me the way they do. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much. I need you to guys go out if you have a chance, Club 45, sign up and help support my mate Jake. I actually have a whole list of riders I need to sit down and do up. But anyway, big shout out to Martin at the Clothing Kings, where you can get all Pin to Gas merch and get beanie hats, soft shell jackets, all that good stuff. Absolutely love walking around the races, even here in America, and seeing people in Pin to Gas merch. It's again.
Cool.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant and amazing. And again, thanks everybody for that loves, watches, and supports the podcast, whether we're live or we're not live. You do it on Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you listen to. Again, thank you guys so much. And I will see you guys coming up this week for some more podcasts. But until then, Weefrenchie is in the house. Thank you so much. I can't wait for part 2. So you guys stay tuned. Thank you guys so much, and I hope your guys' rest of the day is just as mega as everyone else is. So, see you guys later. Absolutely. Hang on, you guys.
Brilliant to talk to you.